You know that glossy, perfect finish on your fridge? Or even just the simple paint on your walls? Every single surface out there has a story. And today, we're going to dive into the science behind how those incredible finishes are actually created. So, let's get into it.
Well, the secret is all in the coating. Just think about it for a second. The difference between that smooth, almost impenetrable finish on an appliance and the kind of textured feel of a painted wall. So let's break down exactly why they're so incredibly different.
Okay, so when you get right down to it, every surface coating has one of two main jobs, either to protect something or to decorate it. It's either shielding the surface from stuff like rust, weather, and general wear and tear, or it's there to add color and style. And of course, the really great coatings, they manage to do both at the same time.
All right, let's kick things off with the method we all know, the one most of us have probably tried ourselves at some point. This is really the foundation of all surface coatings.
So brush painting is exactly what it sounds like, right? It's that hands-on, totally manual process of applying paint. It's super straightforward, it's been used for centuries, and it gives you complete control over the final look, whether you're protecting something or just making it look good.
Yeah, the process couldn't be simpler really. You load up the brush, you apply the paint directly to the surface, and while it's fantastic for detailed work or small projects, it's not perfect, especially when you need to be fast or get a perfectly smooth, even finish.
And that right there leads us to a big question. I mean, what if you need to cover something big, like a car door, and you can't have a single brush stroke showing? A brush just isn't going to cut it. You need a totally different approach.
And that's where spray painting comes in. This is a huge leap forward, technology-wise. We're moving away from direct contact and into this whole new world of a propelled mist. Let's see how it works.
Okay, the key word you got to remember here is atomized. See, spray painting doesn't just push out liquid paint. It uses compressed air to basically blast that paint into millions of tiny, tiny droplets. It turns it into a superfine mist.
So the process is pretty cool. First, that compressed air atomizes the paint, breaking it up into that mist we just talked about. Then, it propels that mist right onto the surface. The result, you get this incredibly smooth, even coat that you can just never, ever get with a brush.
All right, so now we've got our basic direct contact coat, and we've got our super even sprayed-on coat. But what about toughness? What if you need a finish that's not just beautiful, but also crazy durable? Something that can handle scratches, chemicals, you name it. Think about that fridge door again, or maybe some metal patio furniture. We need to level up one more time.
And that brings us to the most high-tech method we're going to talk about today, powder coating. Now get this, we're not even talking about wet paint anymore. This is a completely different ballgame.
Okay, you're going to want to pay close attention here, because this is where the science gets really cool. Instead of liquid paint, we're using a dry powder. It's almost like a fine dust. And here's the kicker. That powder is given an electrostatic charge. And this is the perfect way to think about it. You know how a sock sticks to a blanket when you pull them out of the dryer? That static cling? That is exactly what's happening here. The charged powder particles literally jump onto the grounded metal part and cling to it, covering it perfectly. It's just pure physics doing all the hard work for us. It's amazing.
So once that charged powder has completely coated the part, it goes into a big oven to cure. And that intense heat melts the powder, letting it flow together and fuse into this solid, incredibly durable shell. It's way, way tougher than regular paint.
Okay, so we've looked at 3 totally different ways to coat a surface. Let's line them all up and make it super clear what sets them apart. This chart really breaks it all down, doesn't it? You can see the progression so clearly. We start with the simple, manual application of brush painting. Then we move to the air-propelled mist of spray painting. And finally, we get to the really high-tech stuff, the electrostatics and heat of powder coating. Each one is built on a completely different scientific principle to get a totally different result.
So what's the big takeaway here? It's that there's no single best method. It all comes down to the job at hand. Doing some fine detail work on a window frame? You're going to want a brush. Painting a whole car? You absolutely need a sprayer. And if you're building, say, a bicycle frame that has to survive years of abuse, powder coating is the only way to go. It's all about picking the right tool for the job.
So, from now on, when you look around at, well, anything, you'll know the science hiding in plain sight. You can ask yourself, was that done with the careful precision of a brush, the flawless evenness of a spray gun, or the baked-on durability of a powder coat? Every finish has its own story. Thanks for joining me on this one.